All right, ladies and gentlemen, Norman, boys and girls of all ages, we have a big show today, guys. Norm, you want to give the announcement?
Yeah, welcome to Rubber City Throwdown, the official Voices of Honor Fighting Championship here at the new Melanie. We
got plenty
Lake,
of melody back there.
Here at the KimTam Water Park.
At the new Melanie Lake.
Melanie Lake. I mean,
This place is
like a record. Yeah, this is like a record-breaking day
Capacity
for them.
right now.
There were like 2,000 people, man, 2,000 strong, man, when we pulled up here, and I mean, there is a ton of people here. I mean, we had an issue just trying to find a spot to sit down. It's a good atmosphere. I like it. I'm gonna go on this high dive as soon as we're done.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
belly flop.
Oh, look at that. Look, dude, it's so much fun over here that we actually had to bring our families. We brought out George and Brian. We had to get everybody out here. I mean, George, last night. Brian, we have to give it to you. Great coaching on your part, man.
Thank you.
Last night we had Honor Fighting Championship 5 Fight Fest, guys. That had to have been the best amateur card I have ever seen in my life.
You know, there was a ton of people there, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, we were expecting a sellout crowd. We were promoting a sellout crowd, and like, you didn't realize how many people. No, it's fine. You want to get a picture?
No, seriously, come back over. No,
Get
you're
a
fine.
picture, man. Just get in here and get a picture with him.
No, we're outdoors for a reason.
What's up, brother?
Get in here and get pictures, man. We get autographs. But no, like, you didn't realize how many people were there until you actually saw it from an above view, man. Every seat in the house was packed. People were standing up. Jesus Christ! No more hitting the table. No more hitting the table.
Look to your right.
That wasn't my table.
I'm not looking to the right.
That was not the table. It wasn't the table.
But
I need a moment. I got it.
see, and you're still throwing shit. You're still throwing shit. Now I see why you guys were laughing. Now I see why you guys are laughing.
No, we weren't.
Do you hear the headphones cutting out?
Nope.
No, it's just you, dude.
I just hope the audio doesn't cut out. That's all.
No, the audio should be fine.
I was talking to Melanie Caudill last night about, like, hey, now you see how a really stacked all amateur card can do, and she was like, I was worried because right when people start coming in, it wasn't that busy. Something happened, you turn around and there was nowhere you couldn't walk. You couldn't walk around. So,
like, it felt like we were back in the corner, man. We were set up back in the corner, and so from where we were at, because Altercation Clothing wasn't actually there, they weren't actually set up. So we had a lot of space. But then when people started funneling in front of us, that's when we were kind of like, oh shit, man. There's a lot of people here, man. It was getting rowdy, and then
They actually stopped allowing people to bring chairs out.
Yeah.
The fire marshal said no more chairs are allowed. I don't care how many chairs you got. They're not allowed to have any more out. And my wife was trying to give up chairs to the people that were standing next to our table last night.
Right.
And I told her, you're going to get us in trouble. You need to stop. We're not a part of this, a part of the event staff.
that's the hard part about setting up a location like that with a good card is you might have the ability to seat everyone in there, but then there's nowhere to walk and fire escapes. But I mean,
Let alone people going out the fire exit for the smoking.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the smoking tower was on fire.
Well, listen, let's get into the fight card, man.
Dude,
last night, Fight Fest, Honor Fighting Championship 5 Fight Fest, the Chaparrals Event Center in Akron, Ohio. And this was an all-amateur card. They weren't live streaming. I guess just schedules were conflicting schedules. They changed the venue. Originally, it was supposed to be at the Black River Landing in Lorain County. And
there were some other events going on that same day.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a hard setup. And
I had fireworks going on in Springfield.
There was miscommunication with the guy that runs the Port Authority. So
it happens.
You can do it.
Port Authority.
It happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, we had starting the night off. We had Tyler Lapone versus Pickles Doug Lewis, and that fight was actually kind of like, in my opinion, was favoring Tyler at the beginning, man. I really think that Tyler really dominated in that first round.
Yeah.
And then Doug came out in the second round a lot stronger, a little bit more aggressive. You saw both fighters starting to wear it down. I thought that Doug started to kind of wear it down first, and you were kind of scared a little bit. Watching Doug come to at the end of the first round and start in the second round, and then in the third round, man, he turned the tempo up a little bit and just came out like a bat out of hell, man. He really put on the pressure. He had him up against the cage a couple times. He was hurt, and then out of nowhere, man, he caught him with a good right. He dropped Tyler for a second and immediately jumped to his back, sinking the rear naked choke.
Yeah. So watching that fight, up until end of the second and the third, as I'm looking, I'm like, where are the punches after? Because he was just outboxing, and I'm waiting for him to take that next step and pursue, but he landed a couple punches and back off. But it was a good fight. It just, when you're watching from outside, you can pick it apart and be like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But that was and of course we're in the same locker room with Fightopia, so they're going crazy.
Oh yeah.
It was good boxing, and as soon as he had the opportunity, he jumped on his back. So.
Right. Yeah, it was. Them guys are driving they're 3-hour drive, man. So when they come down here and get a victory, it makes the drive home even that much more sweet, man.
Right.
So yeah, they're trying to build a brand. So they every fighter that they get that comes out here and wins is just it just promotes, the gym just promotes itself at that point,
It makes it a little easier to get them to come back out.
Exactly, right.
As a matter of fact, Norm, I got a hold of the head coach. I believe he's the head coach of Fightopia. He was also hanging out with a couple of the other Fightopia guys. They said that they would like to come up and take a look at us and see if we could have him on the show.
Yeah, I would love to have him on the show. I really would.
Right.
I honestly feel bad to have, hey guys, come down and drive 3 hours. It's a 6-hour trip, 7-hour trip.
Driving for an hour of talk time.
For an hour and a half.
Oh no, we would have to.
But they were all for it. They were all for it. They're like, oh, we don't care. We'll come down. It's like, in time.
Yeah.
In time, we'll get
we
you
all
guys
could
down
go out
here.
to Apex.
I was gonna say once we get painted and cleaned up.
Yeah.
Cross train podcast, cross training. We can do podcasts there.
Yeah, because you bet your ass, as soon as the gym is open and running, man, we're going to be doing a lot of podcasts Sunday afternoons in Apex. So
We're gonna have a special little mat set up that we.
We're
can
gonna get
set
in the cage. We're gonna get in the cage, do one.
Oh, speaking.
It's gonna
of
be a
the cage,
podcast training center. We're gonna have Matt in the cage practicing and is interviewing with some of the fighters that are in there.
along with sparring with George.
I don't think you want to spar with
No,
George.
I want to spar with George.
You're
That way I
not
can
there
learn-
yet, buddy.
I want to learn how to take a hit like George.
Take a hit. Like you can't teach that. You can't teach somebody to take a hit. Ask George. Never mind. Never mind. No.
No, it's great.
Yeah, we could teach it. Just
Wait
get
a
in there.
minute,
The
who
key
was that?
the key is to continuously
Mouthpiece in? Oh, you're
take
good.
punches to the face.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Bite on
you'll
your
learn.
mouthpiece real hard.
Find your mouthpiece and look up.
That's great.
Oh, my
Just
God.
remember, stiff as a board, and you won't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Light as a
As long as you
feather, stiff
tense
as a
up
board.
before you get hit, you should be fine. Moving on, our second fight tonight was with Juwan Minifield versus Dontrell Person.
We finally figured out that
It
is his
wasn't the
actual.
number one fight.
It wasn't the number Juan fight.
It was not Juan. I was completely mistaken by that. His name is actually pronounced Jawan.
Juwan. Which is good. It makes it a little bit easier. I wish I would have knew that a couple weeks ago. I could have saved saved some time.
What was that?
I actually missed that
Did
fight.
anybody hear that?
We were in the back getting George ready, but he won, right?
That. Do you hear
Juwan,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
Somebody's spraying. Someone's just spraying.
Okay.
Air compressor.
Someone's spraying. Yeah.
What's that? What? What? Come on over here then. What's going on, man? What do you got? What's up? You're pointing.
Are we
at
on a
me.
break
What's
right
up?
now?
No.
You're on Rubber
Oh
City
wait,
Throwdown.
are they in a break?
No, are we on a break?
Hell no, we're not on a
Throwdown
break.
With a fight, we talk about all the fights for honor.
Tell them how it is, Reese.
Yeah,
You're
come on
the
over
next-
here.
You're the
Yeah.
next prospect.
Go over here
Right over
to
there.
Brian.
Right over there, Reese.
Come right over here. We got a microphone set up right now.
You may say.
I don't care. What do you want to hear?
You got 5 minutes.
Don't be
You got 5 minutes of
minutes,
can
come
time,
on.
bud.
Let's do
I'll start it for you,
it.
Reese.
There you go.
This is my son's best friend, Reese. He wasn't there at the fights last night, but I was.
Were you?
And this freaking guy right over here dropped some dude. Loved it.
We
I
haven't
called
even-
it before he even, dude, like 15 seconds before he even did it.
Right.
I looked over at my buddy. I said, dude, I just want to see somebody drop tonight. And, dude,
I
10
love
seconds later, boom, there he was.
We haven't even gotten to that part on the card yet. So
We'll get there.
Oh, but this is
We'll get there.
But this is exactly what we were talking about on how much energy there was at the fights last night. Is that even the fans were all over this, man, especially when this dude dropped somebody. Let's get over to that one.
I would expect the fans to be
Oh,
all
man.
over it. I mean, that's why these guys do it. Yeah, no,
back over
Juwan
to-
won first round TKO, 2 minutes and 52 seconds into the first round. Honestly, Juwan put on a pretty dominating performance. I mean, he was a very aggressive fighter. He was a very explosive fighter. If you hit the goddamn table one more time and you cut my goddamn mic out or my headset out, I'm going to kill you.
Why?
Stop it.
Why?
Jesus Christ.
Why?
What do you mean, why? I can't hear anybody if you keep fucking pounding the table with your vape, which is like an added 5 pounds, and I can't hear shit.
Hey,
Industrial
we're
vape.
talking about Juan here. Or Juwan.
No, it's
sorry.
Juwan.
Damn it.
No, like I said, Juwan was the aggressor. He was the more dominating fighter in that fight. It looked like for a second that Dontrell was going to be able to reverse the position, get on top, and then Juwan just reversed it right back and made a pretty sweet transition back over to full mount, and that's where he finished the fight. Full
yeah.
mount, fight, referee stoppage by TKO with 8 seconds left in the first round. So
Now let's-
I am looking forward to seeing Juwan back in the cage. Though.
Although, the power that he brought in was just awesome.
I mean, Juwan looked like the bigger fighter.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to say because Dontrell is a
6'6".
pretty ripped dude. He's a pretty ripped guy for his size too. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got some muscle. He does not look deconditioned
Yeah.
at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, but that's why it's so crazy to see Juwan. He looked like he was the bigger fighter.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, his hair up, or was it just?
It was no, it wasn't. His hair wasn't up. Nah.
It was his hair.
And he was a very humble guy in victory as well,
yeah.
man.
Very,
he
very
gave us
respectful.
I think he had just recently joined. Wasn't he one of the Iron and Soul guys that had come
Iron and
in?
Soul. That
He-
he came back over to Independent, I believe.
Right. No, he was at Iron and Soul for that fight. I mean, he had just
Oh, was he?
he was just where he did his camp, and he was
That's right.
had nothing but nice things to say about his camp and his coaches and his sparring partners. So he was definitely very humble in victory. So.
Right.
And then many knows the Brogan, Andres, and Vince Thompson fight ended up falling through. I guess Vince had a burn on his leg, and the doctor was worried that it was going to explode or something was going to get infected. He didn't clear him to fight, so that fight never happened, unfortunately. Because we were really looking to see. Really looking forward to see Brogan in there again for the second time to see what he was capable of, and honestly, I was kind of curious to see how Vince Thompson was going to look at it in his debut as well. So, unfortunate that fight didn't happen. And then we got Terry Demore and Darnell Truitt,
Yeah.
which
I missed that fight.
you missed that fight.
It was.
It was gonna go. I was saying it was gonna go one of two ways, man. It was either gonna end in the first round. Darnell was either gonna win in the first round, or Terry was gonna win in the third by
I'll tell you
decision.
what.
That's how I saw it. And
You were right.
Darnell, his takedown defense looked completely different
Yeah.
than I had ever seen him before, man. He stuffed the takedown, pressed him up against the cage, took him down himself, and he ended up finishing in the first round by rear naked choke.
Yeah. Darnell's ground game, I've always said it's deceiving. Like he'll do some things and you're like meh, and then the next thing you know he's got a choke or an armbar, Kimura. But Darnell's just a tough fighter. His striking is so good. You don't think about his ground game sometimes.
Right.
And watching that fight, he was on the attack on the ground. Like he wasn't just defending and trying to catch something. He went after him. So
Right. How long is a safety break?
I don't know. I think they're 10 minutes.
How much time do we have left?
How much time does it say we have on the camera? 15. All right.
Yeah, we got. I guess
Keep an eye on that. Because
we have 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll have 30 minutes. It'll cut out. Then we
we
got
have
to
15
restart.
minutes.
So
Please forgive us. This is our first time going outside.
I'm
of the
not
studio.
apologizing for shit, man. With all the crap that we've had to go through today to come out here and put all this shit
But
together and
we
all the
would-
missing equipment that we've had and all this stuff. No,
It's
I'm not
Kim-
apologizing.
it's
This is
KimTam.
raw. This is raw. This is, this is how it is.
Uncut.
This is uncut,
Uncut.
Rubber City Throwdown, uncut. Let's move on to Big George Grizzly Pointer.
Which we have right here with us today. Thank
fighting
you, George, for coming
Christian Correas Godoy, right?
Godoy.
Correas Godoy.
out. Godoy. I mean, that's the sound that he made when he hit the
No,
ground.
be respectful. First
Yeah.
off, be respectful. We're not fucking trashing on any fighters here today.
That's
You
not what
guys
I was
came out
doing.
there. You guys have the balls to get in the cage and get in there and take a beating, put on a beating for us, the fans, for us to do what we need to do. We're not trashing anybody. Yeah,
First off,
he
it
got
wasn't a
knocked out.
trash.
He got knocked out. Well, I mean, you were like Godoy, the sound he made when he hit the canvas. That's disrespectful, man. They're going to come after us, and we're going to take heat from that crap, just like we had last year. We're not doing that shit no more. George and Christian had a hell of a fight. It went to the second round. George was on the attack, and he hit him with some flurries, followed up with some good knees, which I didn't understand the knees. I didn't know why you were throwing knees, but because it looked
They were
weird to me.
working.
It looked weird to me. Like you hit him with a flurry, and then like you know what I'm talking about? You see what
It's a flying knee, man.
Was it a flying knee or was it a Superman punch?
It was a jumping knee, not a flying knee. There's a difference. So you're stationary
Okay, yeah.
and you jump in with the knee. It's more to bring his hands down so the head opens up. Then that's
See, I thought it was a Superman punch
It was.
because of the way that you came up.
I did throw one of them too.
Okay, then I saw
I was
that.
yeah. It was one was
exciting.
Superman punch. I was expecting the leg kicks. Christian was throwing the heavy leg kicks. I expected that. Last couple podcasts we had talked about his fighting style, and they had the good overhand right, strong overhand right, and then they had hard leg kicks. We saw the leg kicks come out. Did that give you an issue at
No.
all? No. Okay.
The last one he threw, I kind of checked weird. That did kind of hurt a little bit, but
Right.
it didn't throw me off. I was still able to bounce around off that leg.
But he also
I could
didn't
still
throw another
move.
one after that.
Yeah, he never did follow up on any overhand rights. I thought that because I was worried at first. I was kind of like, okay, either he's waiting to find an opening, and like I said, George has a very unorthodox style of fighting, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's
to
called
connect,
the tank system.
To connect a punch like that on George is very difficult
and with
to
the
do.
size mismatch, like in that first round, it was a lot of feeling out.
Yep.
And Christian did the opposite thing we thought he was going to do. Like we were expecting him to move forward, and like me and George were working on moving backwards, jab, check hook, move backwards, make him keep moving because he holds his breath when he moves around, so he's going to
Okay.
get tired real fast. But instead, he either
Why
stood
would a
still
fighter
or
do
moved
that?
backwards. It's just a habit. Breathing is just as hard as learning how to throw a proper kick or a punch. If you can't breathe right, it doesn't matter what you do. You have 30 seconds and you're gassed out.
I've always inhaled whenever I throw anything.
You exhale when you throw.
Wow.
Yep.
But
Maybe that's the reason why I suck.
So the game plan had to kind of be, flip flop. So George's moving forward, feeling him out. A couple jabs he hit.
He didn't like him.
Christian didn't like those at all, for obvious reasons. And then watching that, jab. So then he's fighting like this. So his right hand's in forward. He couldn't load it up and throw it like we had seen in some of the footage that we found.
Right.
But I think that changed his game plan too.
He did throw a couple in the clinch, and I knew from the first punch he didn't have the power to. He didn't have the power to put me out. He just couldn't do it. That, and he was saying something about after the fight that when he punched me, he jammed his thumb,
Right.
and he didn't feel comfortable throwing a punch with that hand anymore.
So which
Okay.
that power,
I
the
don't
power right that he's got, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
gotta have more than one punch.
Right.
Right.
Well, most people.
So ultimately, what happened was, now that we've gotten somewhere through the play-by-play, is that George, you came around with a right hand, and pretty much just, I don't know, it was like electricity hit him out of nowhere. It's like he stepped on a freaking bullet or something.
He was moving away from you too. That was the crazy
Yeah.
part. He didn't move into that punch. He was moving away from that punch, and it still connected. And I mean, it's still. I mean, it sounded bad.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you could
both-
hear
I
it.
mean-
You could feel the electricity just bam.
Yep.
I mean,
he was gone.
Shuffle inside leg kick.
Yep. That's what it was.
And that's
I
a
threw it a couple
combination that
times.
you're uncomfortable throwing too.
Which one?
That combination, the inside leg kick with the right hand,
Yep.
that's a combination. That's a combo you're not comfortable throwing. You always said that it didn't feel right.
What made you
it's
open up
hard
to
to
that?
throw in practice.
Right.
You hit your partner as hard as you can.
I figured I would try it once. Just I was just trying different things.
Right.
See how he would react. First couple times I seen him drop his hands and put them out a little bit, and I knew once I did it again, he was going to drop his hands and I'd just throw that right.
I'll tell you what, man. It
it
shows that
landed.
it shows the amount of training and dedication that you had. Both of you guys that game in there. Like Norm said a few minutes ago, you guys put in a lot of work, a lot of effort on both ends. You guys put on a great show. Ultimately, came out with the win. Bryan, great job with your training. Everything else, we understand that George has a hectic work schedule. So even though the little bit of training that you guys were able to put in, it worked
We did
out.
a lot. It was just late night at Metro Parks, just doing hills and pad work, just wherever you can, sparring, and then getting sparring where you can for now. But
Yep.
with the last fight canceling, he was already a camp in.
Right.
So you have to rest after a camp. You can't just
Yeah.
keep going when you're training hard, cutting weight and everything else. So a little bit of break, keep him active, and this is the coaching's coaching, but to be able to listen and buy in to stuff that you might not understand when you're practicing it, because it happens all the time. People are like, why am I doing this?
Right.
I don't get this. And then when you're in the fight, and then it happens, and they don't even realize it. That's to me that's the best part. And
Yeah, as muscle memory kicks in, and then there you go. Then
then
that's
they
why you
understand
do
it.
it. That's
Yeah.
repetition, pain, repetition, and embarrassment are some of the best ways to learn. Anyway, moving on. Dakota Day versus Tim Fry. Tim Fry,
We're working on our new plan.
another fighter from Fightopia. He's been out of game for a little bit, man. He came in and he put on one hell of a performance. Him and Dakota Day both put on a
Yes, they
hell
did.
of a fight. That was a great fight.
That was a good
Was.
fight.
And Dakota Day ended up squeaking out the unanimous decision over Tim Fry. Some believe that Tim had the third round,
Yeah.
but Dakota dominated the first two. I believe that's how they saw it.
See, I was sitting cage side for that one. I think the first round was the close round. Like I think it was back and forth. The second round, Fry I think was controlling the pace, but the second and third round he took so many power shots.
Right.
Like when you were sitting close, like it was hooks and uppercuts, leg
Yeah.
kick, hooks and uppercuts. And even if Fry landed a lot of punches, but they just sitting there, they're nowhere near the power that Dakota was throwing behind them.
Right.
Taking out the leg with the leg kicks, like seeing what the judges saw. I had it first round, went to Fry, but second was Dakota, and they were in wars, but when they were trading punches, it was look wise, it was obvious. Dakota was landing harder.
It was pretty night and day on that one, for sure.
Right.
Hold on one second. Come here. Come here.
What are we doing?
No, come here.
We're trying to get people fucking FaceTime. God damn it. Anyway, we
My
got
wife is leaving.
Dakota. Well, she's leaving. Then, but hey, get up and give her a goddamn kiss. But
Hey,
we try
by
to
the
get
way-
Dakota. We try to get Dakota in the post-fight interview as well. I guess there was some confusion. I'm not exactly sure what happened, so we weren't able to get his post-fight. But
I think Dakota misunderstood your name.
yeah, I think he thinks my name was Noah, but it's Norm.
Yeah.
Just to clear up any confusion, it's not that big of a, it's not that big of a
we
deal.
were extremely confused because he walks back into the room saying that he's waiting for Noah. And I'm like, there's no Noah here.
I mean,
So
it's
we walk out of the room.
Maybe it's my fault. I was waiting for him in the corner, and apparently he'd already gone in the room where they were recording an interview as well. So, and he ended up coming out, and he looked at me, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm like, so Dakota, I'm sorry if there's any confusion, man. We'll get you next time, brother.
Yeah.
But hell of a fight. Congratulations, and enjoy this victory. So, what were you going to say, George? Were you about to say something?
I was about to say I want one of them shirts.
Yeah,
kinda
yeah. We
jealous.
were handing
I
them
got
out
one.
around the time that you weren't actively training.
I was busy out of town working.
But I'll try to get you. We'll get a hold of Anthony and see if we can. Unfortunately, these shirts, this is big on or too small on me, dude. This doesn't come in any bigger than like XL. So we gotta get your ass to we get you down to
Fool
heavyweight.
me.
Right.
XL 205.
So
Jeez, man. Answer the phone.
and then moving on to the female fight, Christina Edwards and Tirza Gunther.
Dude, that was a hell of a fight.
I mean, Tirza ended up winning this in the first round by we thought it was an arm bar, but apparently it was just referee stoppage. We weren't exactly sure what happened. I guess her Brian,
opponent,
you had said that it looked like she was going to finish her with her arm wrapped around her leg. That's how much her arm was bent.
From where I was, it looked like she was going for the arm bar.
Right.
You know, she had her on the side, almost like sitting out. She had her elbow over her thigh and was bending it around her leg.
Yeah. That was
So come to
nasty.
find out,
Christina
I
wasn't
talked to
tapping
her.
out.
Right, I
She wanted
talked to
keep
her.
Fighting,
I talked to her afterwards. Come to find out, she's double jointed in her elbow.
Yeah.
So that was what was causing it. The referee stopped it, thinking that she dislocated her elbow, but she wasn't screaming.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Well, that's the thing. Typically, when a fighter will get overextension or a dislocated elbow, you won't. Your adrenaline alone, you're not going to scream out. You're not going to tab. You're not going to feel it. If she was
You don't
double
feel it till it
jointed,
comes back up.
it's gonna
Right.
look. It's
It's
gonna
just-
look worse than it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, in amateur mixed martial arts, that professional mixed martial arts, I think they stopped that fight.
Absolutely.
Right.
Live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Right,
Don't,
right.
Don't get your arm.
I mean, I
broke
don't
so
care if you're
bad.
double jointed or not. If it looks that bad, you're gonna need to bone up on your armbar defense,
Right.
Because any referee in the country is gonna stop that fight when it gets to that point, man.
And then credit to the ref with how that fight went. It was 3 seconds, face in the chest, takedown cage on the ground.
Right.
And then it was a submission.
I mean,
after submission.
Tirza was
Right.
also punching her
Yeah.
while she was bending the arm.
She
so
was hammer fisting the shit out
yeah,
of her.
so I
Right.
mean, it could have
She
been
had it locked up and
yeah.
hammering away. So there was.
Which that
you-
was
you
what.
Can't, you can't let that.
And that's where the confusion comes from. Is we
Right.
don't know if it was an armbar, a TKO. It was just referee stoppage, man. He just stopped the fight. Was it Chad? Was it Chad or was
No.
it Chip?
Chip.
So Chip just didn't like what he saw, man.
I tell you what, man. Even she said that she thought that it stopped because of strikes, because she was hammer fisting the shit out of it. So I mean, we really don't know. We'll
Either way,
figure it out
her
sooner
arm
or
was
later.
tied in a knot and she was taking punches.
Right.
So.
But
And then
congratulations to the winner.
yeah, Tirza Gunther. Gunther's taking over, baby. We got a chance to see John. We got some pictures with him there.
Yeah.
He was at the event floating
If you're in a
around.
fight,
yeah.
always say John Gunther, because if you say Gunther, Tirza wants to punch you because she doesn't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats.
And
to Tirza
apparently,
on
I
that.
was
You did good.
pronouncing Tirza's name wrong, for weeks, man. I was like Teresa.
Tyza.
Teresa. I mean, and she even called me on Tuesday. I was gonna say something. man.
Crying pizza.
Crying pizza.
Tear.
It's a crying pizza.
And then this next fight, man. I love both of these guys, both of these fighters. But honestly, this fight broke my heart to watch, man.
Did it?
Tyree Johnson and James Neff. And it's not like I was rooting for one fighter more than the other. Okay.
Right.
It just watching the work that James put in, the amount of weight that he lost for this fight to move to a different weight class. I mean, and to see him actively winning the fight.
Yep.
To get knocked out, it hurts. It does. It breaks
Oh, yeah.
anyone's heart, man. Like I said,
It really did.
there's no favoritism here. I wasn't rooting for one more than the other, but I mean, just knowing the backstory of James Neff and what he was, how he was losing the weight, he was trying to get in there, and he was, he was winner. Coming off of a loss, 12-second knockout to Jordan Beverly, and then I'm done with super heavyweight. I'm going to heavyweight. He put in the work. He was in great shape. Momentum was on his side. He had just got back in there, right mentally after recovering from the knockout of his last fight, and then bam, he got put out in that form. And they thought that Tyree actually tapped out when James had that guillotine choke, that
Standing guillotine.
But I mean, if you relook at the video, man, you can see him. he comes around and it looks like he gave him the thumbs up. You know,
I saw the thumbs up.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody thought that he
James
was tapping.
thought he was tapping
James
off.
thought he was tapping, so he let it go. But then Terry was also telling James to release the guillotine as well, so he didn't want him to burn his arms out. So,
Credit to Neff, when Tyree came around, it was thumbs up. Like, ref, look.
oh, okay.
Right,
So,
okay.
wasn't a tap, but, I mean, he was probably going to let go anyway. But
I say, and even James said that Terry was telling him to let go of the guillotine anyway. Man, it was, I did that when I fought Tony Underwood. I fought Tony Underwood. I did that. I held on to a guillotine choke for too long, and it burned my arms out. I couldn't even lift my arms up to defend myself. And so,
when I was talking to Neff after the fight, I was like, man, you got to keep your mouthpiece in. I don't know if it's some, like, situational training when you get hit. You're not holding it in right. It's
He
not
don't
the right
have a
kind of
mouthpiece.
I would say his mouthpiece is like this big.
But he, you know, the last fight, it flew 35 feet off, and this fight, it looked like I thought he spit, and I looked, and I was like, no, he spit his mouthpiece out. Like his mouthpiece on the ground.
His
mouthpiece
mouthpiece only
came
covers
out.
his front teeth.
Like,
It don't go back like it's supposed to.
They make mouth guards that they make short so it doesn't gag you, or stop chewing on it, whatever
Right.
it is. Getting hit without a mouth guard in or a good one, you're gonna get knocked out or a concussion.
I also worry about James's his jaw now, man. Like I said, I don't know if the Beverly fight cracked his jaw, but honestly, it didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, he got hit clean, but I didn't think, and I know other people feel this would do. I didn't think that he got hit hard enough
To get
to
knocked
put him out like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of times, a lot of guys that'll get knocked out, they'll panic when they get hit hard again.
So then they
It'll be like it's like whether you
Okay.
fall down or you fall into the cage or the ropes if you're boxing, it's situational training.
Right.
When you're sparring, when you're in that part of camp where it's hard sparring, you need to get hit. You need to see how you react when you get hit. If you're not
Right.
doing that, you don't know how you're going to react.
this is going to be a stupid comparison, but it's pretty much the same situation where I put myself into every winter. I always go out and I go do donuts in my car. Any vehicle that I buy, I go and do donuts with it. That way I know how the vehicle reacts in the worst of situations. The most uncontrollable situation is going to be losing control of your vehicle. So I guess you could put that in the same perspective as a normal human being too. You know, you got to find out what it's going to be like. No, nothing,
I guess.
nothing. Got nothing?
I get it. Yeah. But
I mean, when you
I
get
was
hit,
about
you lose control of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep.
So you can freeze up, you can lock up, or you could go out. You can uncontrollably do something stupid. You know?
going to 4 low.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Really?
But I got a chance. I caught up with James afterwards, man. And listen, James, I know that like I told you last night. I'll say it again. Don't give up on what you're doing. You
won't.
just lost all this weight. That's an achievement in itself. That's
Keep
a
that
feat
going.
within itself. Keep going. Keep training. You're an amateur fighter, man. You're gonna lose. You're gonna have losing streaks, and you're gonna have winning streaks, man.
What you
know,
take away
don't
from
get
the loss.
discouraged. Don't get discouraged, because what he said to me last night, he said, "I'm done." Because I think I'm done, man. And I get it. You just lost, so a lot of emotion is coming out. You don't want to stop. You don't want to mentally defeat yourself. And like I told him, you're fighting on tilt now. If you take a fight next month, you're gonna lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to get back in the gym, reevaluate yourself, center yourself, and get motivated again. You know what I'm saying? Keep losing the weight. Get in shape, better shape, because he looked fantastic. He looked good too.
He did.
He looked
And-
real
He-
good.
He worked his ass off this camp.
And
Yeah.
he didn't get ran over in that fight. He was
No.
winning that fight. You know.
Oh, yeah, he
it
was
was a
for sure
good
winning.
fight.
Yeah.
And with that, I mean, congratulations to Tyree also.
Yep.
Like Tyree
Right.
fought
Yeah.
a hell of a fight.
And
Like,
that's just when I interviewed Tyree in the post fight, he said himself, you know, there's a lot of experience out there, so he felt that James should have capitalized on the adrenaline dump, because he said Tyree was really affected by the adrenaline dump. He said he felt that James probably should have capitalized on it. Again, as a fighter, how do you know when that adrenaline dump is hit? You know what I'm saying?
On the other person,
Maybe that's an experience thing. Maybe over time you just learn to see it, and you know when it's happening. But Tyree, this is like his 19th amateur fight or something like that. There's a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, hats off to Tyree. I look forward to seeing him fight again. I'm really interested to see what he's gonna
Is
do.
that a freaking snake that they're climbing on?
Yes, it's I don't know what it's called. It's like a giant
Wow.
snake in the.
Like
In
a
the
giant
water.
snake in the middle of the water. That is awesome. All these kids are riding on it, dude. That is awesome.
Now, I didn't see this next fight because we're in the middle of an interview. I was actually interviewing Tyree during this fight, and I'm really upset. It was the Dom Johns and John McGregor fight.
Dude, Dom
like 20
Johns.
second. It was like a 20-second fight. Again, another fight.
Tom Johns came out, man, and he showed some stuff.
It was
It was a
Dude,
good
dude's got
fight.
some power.
he came
damn
out
sure.
and he was going body head, bring his hands down, hit him in the head, good, get him against cage, slammed him, got his back, got reversed. Guy had his back,
Yeah.
and then on the scramble came back up, but. Johns in that fight, you saw how strong that guy is.
Yeah.
Like
He was flipping him
good?
around.
How good was the throw, the slam?
The slam was
I heard that it was
amazing.
beautiful.
Okay, he was clean off the ground.
the slam looked like if you were breaking it down in practice, but not in slow motion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
get under, get your hips in, lift up, extend, and it was obviously a lot faster. But
Yeah.
I really wish I
I'm
would have
pretty upset
seen
I didn't
that.
see it. I
Yeah, I
didn't see it
really
either.
wish I would have seen that too, man. But
Then
like,
didn't he roll him over his shoulder as well?
yeah, like, it was that whole fight impressive.
Right.
Impressive. And I was talking to his coach.
Now this guy was
before.
6'6", right?
John McGregor was
Yeah.
6'6", and I mean, and we had talked about it many times, like how Dom was gonna have to fight this guy. It was get inside his bubble, don't fight from a distance, and it sounds like that's exactly what Johns did. Was get inside his comfort zone, and like my last fight when I fought Jared Carlisle, who was 6'5", 6'6", I did the same. Body, head, body, feint to the body, to the head, feint to the head, to the body, and that's how you fight guys that are as tall as McGregor. And it sounds like that's what he did.
Was that a left or a right that he got him with the bottom of the jaw?
I think it was a left.
I want to say it was a left because I know that he came to the body first with the right, got him to crunch a little bit, bring his guard down, and then he came straight up with the left, and clean just right to the jaw. You saw his head turn.
Just about every punch he threw was just a power shot. Like he wasn't trying to set
Yeah.
up like finesse wise and catch him. He threw hard.
Dom's got some crazy power, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That dude's got some unbelievable. Now, was that
I mean,
a
you could
heavyweight
see
fight
it,
or was
too.
it light heavyweight? I thought it was announced at light heavyweight.
heavyweight,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was a heavyweight fight for the longest time. Maybe it's because I saw 6'6", and then when Dom fought Mike Siebert, that was a heavyweight at Cage Thunder. So maybe I just associated that with
Maybe
you know being a heavyweight
I
fight.
mean, I'm sure it could have easily been a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
They could both pretty much make it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but
I'll tell you what, man. That guy, it shows his power. I mean, he's just cut.
he punches like ridiculously hard. We saw that when he fought Mike Siebert
Yeah.
at Cage
Yep.
Thunder, man. We saw that and that was kind of like a oh shit kind of moment. Like this dude's for real, you know. And then after talking with his coach in his camp, and they go, yeah, dude, everybody up there hits hard. Everyone up there hits just like him, man. So
Congratulations to Dom Johns. Sorry. I did that during the post fight too.
right.
His legs weren't so big. He could probably make 55.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like
He's just a
solid.
stocky dude, man. He's a
running
brick
back,
house.
You know?
And then Edwin Taylor and Mitch Dotto. Dude, Edwin is a big guy, man.
Yeah.
You see that guy's arms, like
Yeah.
in person,
Just
like
out here, bro.
like it's like it almost looks like it's like he filled his arms up with water or some shit.
No.
dude. Like it
He
just,
looked like-
dude's just
He looked like Stretch
It's
Armstrong.
like that damn SpongeBob
Just like-
episode. Where
Yeah.
he just filled it with air. Just when we interviewed him, man. I mean that dude's big.
Yeah.
That dude is a big guy, man. And so like, you know, seeing him in there, man, and then seeing him with Mitch, man. Like it took we expected him to take him to the ground. Edwin to take him to the ground. I did think that I was expecting to see Edwin put Mitch up against the cage and throw some bombs. You know, with the arms that big, that's kind of what you expect.
Yep.
Ended up taking him to the ground, and then it looked like Mitch was actually going to transition pretty smoothly. It looked like Mitch was going to
to
be
the
able
back.
to kind of control him while he was in his guard, and then Edwin just looked like he just outpowered him, man. Just overpowered him, and then and just ended the fight. Edwin ended up winning that round 1 TKO with 2 minutes and 59 seconds left in round 1. 1 second. One second.
second.
That's all that was left in that round, and before it was actually stopped by the referee. So, who's to say that Mitch wouldn't have came out and did something completely different in the second round? Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, that's the hard part for a referee too. Is you hear the 10-second call. Let's say
honestly, he started taking punches like. I mean, I felt like the referee was letting it go for as long as possible.
Yep.
I mean, he could have stopped that 5 seconds.
Well,
5 seconds earlier,
you're watching him take punches, 10 seconds, blocks a couple, takes some more.
Right.
It's
It's like playing double dutch.
no good call, no bad call. It's just judgment, you know. But the Edwin was just so strong.
Yeah, just congratulations to Taylor, man. I look forward to seeing him back. I look forward to seeing Mitch in there too.
I asked him on the post fight too about how often does he come out here, and he said he does a lot of his fighting in Ohio because I guess he's from Pennsylvania.
What weight was that at?
What
He's
weight?
from Erie.
You say what weight?
Yeah.
I think it was 205.
Was it 205?
I think it was 205. Yeah, didn't you say like you know when we were talking with him in the pre-fight, we were like, hey, you know, coming out here in hostile territory, and he goes, man, I come out here to Ohio all the time, man.
No, that was the post fight.
Was it the post
That
fight?
was the
I think
post-fight.
okay, it was the post fight.
Because we never got into it in the pre-fight because
Right.
we were trying to get everybody out, and
Okay.
you know,
But
we
yeah,
had
I think that's
two
what
different things
I was just
going
making sure that was Edwin that said that. He goes, man, I
Yeah.
come out to I love fighting in Ohio. That's exactly what he said. I come out here all the time. It's not even hostile territory to him.
I guess he fights
know?
a lot in Indiana and Pennsylvania and Ohio, right in between.
Right, and that was what his like 12th fight,
Yeah,
something like that. I think it was a 6-5 or 6-4.
somewhere around there.
So I mean, yeah, he's up there, man. He could probably apply to get his pro card now if he wanted to.
Remind me about Pennsylvania after we get through the card.
Right.
Okay.
And so moving on, we got Jeffrey Ofak and Dante Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Man, I told this guy when the pre-eyes, I'm not going to pronounce that name right now.
Man,
Man. And I told him, I said, I'll let you do it. So that's why he said his name in the pre-fight.
So-
I was like, I'm not even going to try, Ben. Not even going to try.
He gives like within the first minute he finally gives out the name.
Right.
He goes, "This is where I am. This is where I'm from. This is who I fight with."
By
and
the
all
way,
these
my
people.
name is this.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for butchering your name. That was a good fight, though.
It was.
It was.
That was-
was.
and this was
Nickname
on
had me
short
cracking
notice.
Up right before the fight. Like I probably laughed into the first minute of that fight.
You laughed.
His nickname is the real DP.
I didn't even
Like,
pay
I'm cracking
attention.
up.
Was
to
that like
Like-
his nickname was the real DP? It's like his Twitter name almost. You know, it's like something you'd see at
The real
hit me up
DP.
at Twitter with the real DP. That's funny though. That's good though. I like
cracking
it.
up. The cager was like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "You didn't hear that? It's the real DP." She's like, "What?"
And then like
That was awesome.
I feel bad for bringing it up again, but like Jeffrey Ofak, man, I asked him during the
Jeffrey
game before the game. I said, "How often do you get oh fuck?"
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, every day, man. He goes all the time.
That's
And he was a good sport about it, man. I got a chance to talk to him
A lot of
and
these
Eric
people-
Posen with Jason Dent in the back when they were warming up, man. Real class act, real humble guy, both guys actually. And Dante took this on 9-day notice. So to take it to the third round and end up losing this fight by unanimous decision
And with no
against a very
corners.
game opponent, you know.
Hey Norm, remember this song? We used to sing this song in with karaoke.
Yeah, I've never sang this with you in karaoke. You got the wrong guy.
No, you totally did.
There's only one song
Along
I've
with
ever sang
Smash
in
Mouth.
karaoke. It was Smash Mouth. That was the only song I've ever
Along with
sang.
Okay, maybe
karaoke.
I sang this, then we sang. Maybe. I was like 6, guys. I was
And then apparently this next fight is a controversial. The Casey Turnbull and Lucas Mass. I mean,
Man.
Lucas won the first 2 rounds.
Yeah,
he did.
that's what everybody sees. Everyone. I thought it was pretty clear cut
Yeah.
that Lucas won the first 2 rounds,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Casey definitely won the
third
third.
round.
The third.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
but apparently,
There was a big
I mean,
upset.
you're gonna get that. Casey was undefeated. You're gonna get that with a guy
Right.
who's taking his first L, man. Hands down, everyone's gonna
I mean,
be pissed off about
I'll get
this,
over it.
this fight. And regardless to who we think won, you left it in the hands of the judges.
Yeah.
You lost.
Right.
So, because I know that there was one guy. I don't even know who it was, who had made a comment. That you guys are high if you think that Lucas won that fight. Hey, we don't. It doesn't
We're
matter
not
what
the-
we
yeah,
think.
there's
It
absolutely
doesn't
nothing
matter
we can
what
do.
we think, man. It was what the judges saw. We didn't score the damn fight, man. You left it in the hands of the judges.
I-
If you feel that you got screwed,
Then you need
I'm
to,
sorry, man. Don't let it
Do
go
more.
to the hands of the
Yeah.
judges, man.
And
I'm sorry.
I learned that too. You can't.
And looking at that fight, Casey's fans, they're obviously going to be biased. He won the last 35
Right.
seconds of round 2. That's not enough to win the round.
There was a lot of Casey fans out there
There
too.
were. And that was
a big
probably
that was
the
a
fight
big
of
one.
the night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
was a big
was.
one. That was definitely fight of the night. You had both chants in the crowd. You had Turnbull chants. You had Lucas chants.
Yep.
Oh, man.
By
That was
us,
crazy.
there was more Lucas fans
Oh, yeah,
than near
there
us.
was.
But then there was a group
Right-
that was
right
also
on, right
that
out
was
there.
trying to that was cheering for
All three of my tables were
Casey
cheering
as well.
for him too.
So,
Also Lucas,
and like
yep.
the
That
people I was
was-
sitting next to, I was like, Lucas is going to win. They're like, why? I go, he lost the end of the second round, but he won the round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as a whole, the MMA judging isn't on. Well, he ended up on top at the end, so he's
Right.
winning. And they're like, no way. I'm like, all right.
No,
that's why they
it's way
scored
worse.
by
And
round.
I think that's why a lot of people think that Casey won the fight is
Yeah,
because
it
he
is.
dominantly won the third round. So
Yeah.
that's all they see is
Yep.
him how
The
dominant
most
he-
recent
yeah.
of
the
the
end of the second and
rounds.
the third, and they're
Exact-
like,
yeah.
he wins.
They don't remember what all happened in the first two. They
Right,
only
right.
think about what's last.
But regardless to who we think won and what the judges scored the fight, it was one hell of a fight.
Yeah, it was.
And both fighters are on their way, man.
yeah.
Whether these two meet up again in the near future for a rematch or trying to settle the score or not, both fighters are going to have a very successful MMA career ahead of them.
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah,
I look
definitely.
forward to seeing both Casey Turnbull and Lucas back in.
And also, I'm gonna credit to Casey. His ground game from his last fight,
Yep.
10 times better than it previously was.
Yeah,
At
when he
least on
fought
what we
Darnell, yeah.
saw. And congratulations to Lucas too. Like, I don't know if he was hurt or he gassed out, but from the first round into through the second at the end,
Yeah.
he was in almost like survival attack mode.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to stay busy, but Casey
Right.
was coming in with those.
Casey's
those
cardio
power
is good,
shots.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
there was not much of the whole fight that neither one of them. They both were moving a lot.
Yeah.
Lucas
So-
said he was gassed in the third round.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And he sold
He said he
3,000
was
tickets.
wore out.
Yeah, he did.
There wasn't
Yeah,
even
right.
3,000 people.
Yeah, he meant to
He
say he
said-
stole $3,000 worth.
Yeah,
That's
that's
probably
what
what he
that's
was-
what I
that's-
told.
that's what he
that's what I
said.
told Matt. I was like, I think he meant $3,000.
And that's exactly what he said
But he-
after the
yeah,
interview.
yeah, yeah.
pretty
Because I said to him, I was like, 3,000, huh? And he goes,
Where did you send them?
dollars. So it was.
No, Lucas,
They didn't actually show up, but no, it's fine.
They didn't actually show up.
But Lucas will most likely be fighting for a title next, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And he wanted the winner of the Ado Kyle
Yeah,
Booth
he wanted,
fight.
he wanted Booth or Ada. is what he
Unfortunately,
said.
Ado
might
does
be
it.
dropping down to 55 for a
Yeah,
title.
Ado didn't want that fight.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Did you ask him?
I think Brian talked to him
We had a
afterwards.
conversation.
Did you?
He
I think it
doesn't
just
it's a
felt.
good fight
well,
for Lucas. Like,
right.
as of right now, strength-wise, just matchup, he doesn't think it'll be a good fight, which is gonna piss Lucas off.
I
But-
mean,
Not to mention, Ado's a 55er anyway. He
Right.
only jumped up because of the change of opponent.
Yeah.
He was originally supposed to fight Will Ferg at 55, and then because of the Will Ferguson got injured, they brought in Kyle Booth on short notice. Kyle Booth wouldn't have been able to get to 55, so they did
Yeah, he
it at
jumped up.
welterweight.
And if
So the only reason why that fight happened at 70.
Yeah, and if Edo goes back down, it really creates, this Nautica card, puts
Oh,
some
yeah.
even more interesting
Sorry
fights
about
on that card.
All bad.
Let's say
don't knock out my mic,
it
okay?
just happens to end up being Lucas and let's say Liggett.
That would
won a
be
number
nice.
one contender shot. That's a good fight. If you
What happened to Liggett? Whatever happened to
I
this
think
guy?
it was some Army stuff and work. He couldn't make that
Okay.
next fight.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume he's just been training and waiting, but I'd say I would go Lucas and Liggett and Ado and Ferguson. That's what I would put together.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not the
we might
matchmaker of
have
the year or anything.
we might have
but-
something else once we get down to a couple of other ones because I got a little bit of information too,
Great.
All right, so
which is great for us.
moving on. This is a very interesting fight, man. The Eric Posen and Timothy Hughes fight, man. This fight, like,
Apologies.
and I will say this now, man. I've already talked to Tim, Like, ask and you shall receive. Tim,
Yeah.
you wanted to showcase your striking. You wanted to fight a guy who was very dominant striker. You got him.
Oh, yeah, he
And
did.
buddy, you got him in the first round. Holy
Yep.
shit. I mean, we were watching and we were like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Tim got knocked on his ass. He was clearly losing.
He had the eyes.
Yeah,
he
he
had
was
the
clearly
eyes.
losing the stand-up battle, and Tim did what an experienced fighter would do.
what you know,
He
man.
adapted,
Yep.
and he took him to the ground. He put him in
Immediately
his
went back
world.
home.
And even Tim said Eric is the real deal.
Yeah.
He goes, he
is
didn't
good.
know how good this guy was until that first round, man, and until he started trying to strike with them.
Right.
And then he goes, Eric was the real deal, man. He goes, that guy's great.
You don't know how good you are until you go with someone who's has legit hands or
Right.
wherever you're trying to test yourself. So Hughes will come back better. He's going to know what worked against him.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And he also knows that he needs to work on his hands more.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He definitely did. He definitely did showcase a lot of his experience with jiu-jitsu, especially after him getting knocked on his ass. And he openly admitted that. He said as soon as, and this is in the post-fight interview as well. He said,
that we can't, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
We had a
Confidential meeting.
No.
technical difficulty where our mic actually died
Yeah.
mid-interview, and then we didn't
Wow.
know it died until
Say it was
post-production.
confidential meeting. You can't
Wow.
release it.
right. We'll have to put the black box.
We got an NDA. We can't talk.
redacted
But,
everything. No, we talked to him, and when I did the post fight interview with him, he had openly admitted that this guy is 100% worthy.
legit,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's 100% the reason why he's in the top ranked strikers in Northeast Ohio or Ohio in general, and Eric showcased that. He proved himself.
Yep.
And the only way that Tim was going to come out with the W on this one was to go back to where he needed to go.
Yep.
And he put him right to the ground, and he eventually caught him with that triangle choke.
That was with very short time left on the clock too, wasn't there?
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
it was, and he actually tapped. It was
Yeah,
that
but
was
there was
another
like
one.
1 second
there
left.
was another 1 second. That was a 1
Yep.
second left. But Eric actually tapped. It
Yep.
wasn't stopped.
Their corners are running to the cage, and they were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. But let me say, like, Eric though, like that dude, very, very humble in defeat, man.
Yes, he was.
That guy is. I mean, he came up to us and shook our hand. And even still, hey man, we appreciate what you guys are doing. We love what you guys do. He is an active listener of the podcast. That dude is very humble. I really, that dude's a good dude.
I can't wait to see him fight again.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm curious to see. And I even asked him, I said, what's next? I said, what's next, man? And he goes, man, I live in the moment, man. I don't live
Yeah,
for
he
the
doesn't-
future, bro. Like,
He goes,
he
I don't
goes,
plan for.
I don't plan for
them.
nothing.
We work with what's now.
So he ain't planning for nothing right now. Whenever they offer him a fight, that's when he'll take it, and that's when we'll know, and we'll be there. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
That was
And congratulations to the Honey Badger, man.
Yeah.
I'm at 3-1 now. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. Is that correct?
That's 3
Yep.
and 1, correct. I talked to him. I asked him what's next, and he pointed straight to his waist. He wants a title. So we're gonna be possibly looking at some kind of matchup in the near future. He's hoping for the 18th, but we're not exactly sure yet.
There's gonna be a nice little shuffle at 155.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
You got 6 guys.
Yep.
So we'll.
Right. Let's move on to our co-main event.
Sounds like a sermon. All right, let's move on. Page 447 in your hymnal.
You guys, pick up your Bibles, please.
Yeah.
Please turn it. But no, Kyle Booth, Michael Ado. We talked a little bit about this earlier. Michael is explosive nature, is aggressive nature as a fighter. Guy looks more and more confident every time we see him. And this is the 3rd time that we've actually covered him with Rubber City Throwdown. What? Ethan, go away.
You can't touch
Jesus
the camera tripod.
But Yeah, it's the third time that we've covered Michael Ado, and he's mature. We're watching him. This is what I like about it. This is what I like about watching amateurs, man. They're mature. Watching them mature as a fighter, and his confidence right now is through the roof. He's looking.
Who likes to fight, learn while he's fighting.
I'll tell you what, though, the only thing that doesn't change on him, that icy stare. I can't get over his eyes, man. It's like, ugh.
He's like that when you talk to him.
That's what I'm talking about.
When you fight.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's just,
Yeah, right.
It's like he's staring right through your soul.
And props to Kyle too for taking this fight on a shorter notice. I mean, he had a few weeks, but and Kyle, man, a speedy recovery, man. I think tore his calf right off the knee, man. Like
off the knee.
That's what the doctor said.
Yeah, man. That's gonna be a pretty extensive recovery. I really wish
that was a pretty even fight right up until that injury.
Right.
It was
a pretty good scramble, man. Yeah. Like you saw him take a big slam, right? Michael to the ground, and then there was he had him. Booth had Michael look like in a guillotine, and then Michael, dude, he was just all. He was twisting. He was scrambling.
He ended up going into a neck crank, so he was turning him.
Yeah.
But
wow.
It was.
I know they were tied up like a pretzel for a little while, and they were.
It was a bad choice.
And it was just.
It looked like they were both going for a knee bar.
Yeah.
And then.
Then they're trying to hit on each other, and they were already at full extension, I believe. Or was that a different fight?
No, that was it.
That was it?
One arm trying to hit him.
Yeah.
They ended up getting back up, but it was just, I don't know if it was a Superman punch or if he was just moving forward, but he went, Booth was going for a strike and got caught mid-air.
Yeah.
And then when he landed,
that's when his knee
went straight down, not because he was knocked out, and just
went straight to his knee. Now, with that,
the sportsmanship that we
Dude,
saw out of Michael, man.
First he walks in, he grabs his water from his cornerman, grabs his water, goes straight back over to his opponent, to Booth, and he hands the water straight to him. He's like, no, this isn't mine, this is him. And he stuck with him. And then, Norm, you want to take the rest?
Yeah, he picked him up, carried him out of the cage, down the steps,
all the way. No, not all the way to the back.
No
he went
help.
Straight back.
I thought he was just kind of one guy in one arm, one guy in the other. And no, he picked him up like an infant child.
Threshold.
Right. Like he was married.
Walked him through the cage doors, down the stairs, all the way into the back, and made sure that he got the help that he needed before coming out and accepting his belt.
Right.
You
they actually waited for him in the ring for what, about 3 minutes?
I mean, you don't see that kind of sportsmanship.
No,
you don't see that on a professional level, let alone an amateur level.
And we've covered Mike a couple of times already, and each time he has had a fight, and whether it stopped early or something like that, he's always congratulated his opponent, and always said he fought well, he fought with a lot of heart. Right. So it's not something that is uncommon for Mike. He's always been that way, and he's a great fighter because of it.
Yeah, and he's about ready. I talked to him afterwards, and he goes, I said, "What's next with you, man?" He goes, I'm ready to go pro. He's it isn't about what belt I can take next, how I can improve my record. He goes, I'm trying to go pro. He's what 6-7-0, 6-0, I think.
Yeah, 6-0.
In Ohio, I mean, obviously he can't go pro, but he's not from Ohio.
So
I'm not exactly sure with the Michigan athletics.
If you go pro somewhere else, I know the Ohio Athletic Commission is very particular on letting you come back for a pro fight if you don't already have 2 or 3 wins.
Yep.
Well, now that he's got 2 titles that are, one's from Chicago,
he can
from
petition
Michigan.
He can petition it.
He could. If he takes the time to drive out and talk to the commission in person. They could grant
He's 6-0 with 2 titles, man. Come on.
Well, one title's not from Ohio.
Doesn't matter. He's got 2 goddamn titles as an amateur.
I didn't know if that would actually make a difference to the OAC.
He has won 2 amateur titles. He's 6-0, and he's look at his last 3 fights.
Well, yeah.
They've all ended in the first. Sorry, 4 fights. They've all ended in the first round.
Right.
With that other title, let's say he goes pro with that organization in another state.
Right.
There might be a loophole.
Right.
Where they can't be like, well, you just went and fought for someone else. He already has a title. So there's little ways you could probably get around it, but
right.
I think if he's trying to go, if he feels that he's ready to go pro now, I think he should petition it with the OAC. And
I know he's scheduled in August, or he's talking about fighting in August. I told him about Nautica, so
that's definitely a card that he's going to want to get on. I think for sure. But
If you're in the Midwest, you want on that card.
Right.
Exactly.
And then our main event, we had Fred Davis and Jamal McClain for the 185 middleweight title. And I mean, not much to really say about this one, man. I'm not gonna dive too deep in this. The fight lasted about 30 seconds. Jamal ended up knocking out Fred Davis, TKO. And you know, I know Fred was mad at me when we did the pre-fight interview, man. I get it.
Yeah, there was a lot of hostility there.
You're not going to make everybody happy in this sport, especially in a media setting. I learned this last year. You can't make everybody happy. But that's why, like...
Happy?
Yeah, happy. Yeah, you can't make everybody happy. And unfortunately, as a spectator, as a fighter, I saw this as a bad fight. And I was very opinionated about it. And I was very vocal about it, man. And like I said, hey, I don't want to like, I'm not trying to gloat. I'm not trying to say this is not I told you so, but I do know a little bit about this sport. Okay. Right. And on paper, this fight didn't make sense. Like I said, I get it. I understand. Right. This Fred wasn't going to get another opportunity like this.
You can't say no to it.
You can't say no.
You can't say no to it.
And he trained his ass off, or he did what he needed to do to get ready for this fight. But McClain was just the bigger and stronger fighter. I mean, Fred came in at 82, and McClain had to cut like a pound.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Watching that fight, if you didn't know either guy, there was so much of a speed difference.
Right.
That was.
Yeah.
That was the fight. But again, hey, taking that fight, you know, takes guts.
I get it.
You have to do
right.
it.
I was offered to fight Stansberry for the heavyweight title in 2007 on 3-week notice. He was 10-1. I was 4-2. And I shouldn't have taken that fight. I kind of knew that I was going to lose. I kind of felt like the only reason why they asked me is because they needed somebody to fill that spot. Honestly, I wasn't the first choice. Stipe was supposed to fight Josh. That was his fight to take. Unfortunately, Stipe was injured, so he couldn't take the fight. So I think they just wanted somebody to fight, fill in, and kind of hype up the Stansberry Stipe Miocic fight. And that's how I felt, you know. And yeah, I had people looking at me and go, "Dude, are you serious? You're gonna lose this fight." You know, I get it. Sometimes you just got to take the opportunity, and you know. And that's what Fred did, man. I love Fred. I love Fred as a competitor. I love him as a person. Right. I want to see him fight again, and you bet your ass, Fred. I don't care how mad you are at me. I'm going to be there at your next fight. I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to interview you. We're going to talk about you in any way, shape, or form I feel.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just how it is. It's nothing against you as a fighter or as an individual. Nothing against you at all.
Right. And part of it, like doing a podcast or any kind of media you're doing, you can't be so biased because you like someone or your
exactly.
friend.
Right. Exactly.
You're going to be.
I did the bias thing.
You have to tone it down.
Yeah.
I did the whole bias thing. It doesn't work.
No. You can't be like, that guy's a dick, I hate him, screw him. That doesn't work. You can't be like, George is my best friend, want to interview him, we're on a podcast.
Listen,
everybody else sucks.
George is on my fight team. And I was even looking at when I was talking about his fight with Christian, I said, dude, Christian's got knockout power. He could realistically beat George. There is that. I wasn't like, yeah, George is going to destroy this
Why'd
guy.
You do this? Yeah.
No.
Yep.
You know?
Norm Newell's going to win. Don't let him
Get the hell out of here.
I don't know, George. You keep beating up my equipment.
It's in my way.
It's in my way.
But listen, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Wait. So, did you hear about Pennsylvania?
Oh, yeah, you want to talk about your I didn't know if you want to talk about that on air or off air.
You miss weight one time, you are not allowed to fight in that weight class anymore.
Really?
Wow. Professionally or amateur?
Either.
Wow.
Are you shitting me?
In Pennsylvania, yeah. Then they just changed, like, in Ohio, pros, you weigh in. There's amateurs, you got to weigh in the next day. You can only gain a certain amount.
Yeah, I heard something about this.
It's less of an amount that you can gain.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, and they're trying to work in percentages with it too. As far as like you have this, you weighed in this, you have this much percent of water weight to gain, and they're really trying to. I don't want to say get like advanced medically, but I don't think it's going to work. I think Northeast Ohio is going to get a lot of fighters from PA coming over that they don't want to deal with those rules.
Would you quit touching that?
No, yeah. Well, it was the same thing. Well, like when Ohio, they changed their pro weigh-in where they had to weigh in twice. there was a discrepancy there where a lot of guys they said the same thing. Oh, there's going to be a lot of guys from Ohio fighting out of state because of this, and now you got this. I mean, this is the sport. You know,
Right.
now you got other states that are putting even more stricter weight restrictions in, and it's it's going to be very interesting. But that's kind of crazy, man. I mean, I get it. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, how would you feel if you weighed in? Say you're a natural welterweight and you fight a guy who walks around at 200 pounds when he's fully hydrated, dude. You know, he cuts
looking
down
at
to
a guy
cuts down to 70, and then when he rehydrates, he's got 30 pounds on you.
Like, let's say a guy misses by half a pound, and now he's got to move up 10.
That's nuts.
You know,
There's got to be a catch somewhere.
yeah, and
Professionalism, man. Don't miss weight.
yeah, there's the catch.
Yeah, but
Pennsylvania's always had some weird stuff anyway. Like,
I hate going to Pennsylvania and trying to drink. Sucks. Have to go find a beer distributor. Can't just walk into the next Circle K.
Right.
Hell, I don't even think they have a Circle K.
But no, we're going to go ahead and cut it. We're going to cut it right here. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. Again, this is Rubber City Throwdown here at Lake Melanie.
KimTam Park.
KimTam Park, baby.
You guys
We're
got to
gonna
come
go-
out here, man. You guys got to come out here. It's a great thing going on here. Jeremy Caudill and Melanie Caudill, they've got a really good system going on here. Big ass, I think it's 3-acre lake.
Yeah, man.
It's
this
an
is-
artesian spring-fed lake.
We're
and
going to wait. There are a lot of people kind of leaving now, man.
That's because
but
they close at 7.
do they close it? Hey, man, it's what time is it?
6:12.
I don't
Damn.
think they're letting anybody back in the water.
Dang.
Oh, they will. It's a safety break right now
But
because they're gonna let me in.
we were gonna try to get that high dive, man, but we'll have to come back like tomorrow or something.
No, I think I'm gonna go talk to Jeremy. No.
All right, guys. Again, this is Rubber City Throwdown, the official voices of Honor Fighting Championship, and we will be talking next week and the week after. Actually, for like the next 6 weeks, we're going to be hitting on the Nautica,
August 18th.
the August
Oh, yeah.
18th at the Nautica Pavilion in Cleveland. That's going to be probably the biggest show in Northeast Ohio, if not Ohio. So, George, Brian, thank you for coming on,
Thanks,
Hell
guys.
It's
Yeah,
always
thank
been a
you.
pleasure. You guys are always welcome.
and until next time, guys.
Later.